I'm here in Durham, North Carolina at the location that will soon be the headquarters for ChargePoint operator Ionna. So I do a weekly update of DC fast charger implementations throughout North America, and I mentioned on my last week's update how there didn't seem to be the explosion of DC fast chargers that I had anticipated with all the announcements that were going on. This brood of kittens, though, is getting ready to blow a Texas-sized hole in that problem by bringing 30,000 DC fast chargers with over $10 billion in the space of 5 years. So someone asked me in a comment why I thought that Ionna chose the Raleigh-Durham area in order to establish their headquarters instead of Texas, which was the other leading contender. And Raleigh-Durham, people might not know, is quietly becoming what is called the new Silicon Valley. There is a very heavy tech presence here and has been for a while. There's something called Research Triangle Park that the business community established in order to attract technology companies, and they've been wildly successful. There's been exodus out of California, and a lot of those companies have been reestablishing offices that they call regional offices, but are really becoming headquarter offices here in the Raleigh-Durham area in the Research Triangle Park. There's IBM, there's Red Hat. Apple is building from scratch a over $1 billion, they're calling it an East Coast headquarters here in the Raleigh-Durham area. There's Cisco. There's just a very large number of technology companies. So there's already a tech focus associated with Raleigh-Durham. And yes, North Carolina has ChemPower recently announced. They have Alphitronics recently announced in the Charlotte area. The Charlotte area is also home to the Circle K DC fast charger team that does regional implementations of DC fast charger stations throughout the Circle K properties. And now we have Ionna as well. So it seems as though just because of the trend of technology moving to the Raleigh-Durham area, the EV companies have established offices here, and also the governor, Roy Cooper, has been very pro-EV in order to attract multiple, not only electric vehicle, but green technology companies to the Raleigh-Durham area. Okay, first I want to start off with the major players in the charging environment currently in the United States. We have Electrify America that has about 1,000 stations with 5,000 stalls. They have spent about $2 billion in 10 years to get there. They've recently received an additional $450 million from Siemens, so their total net worth is somewhere around $2.5 billion. Mercedes-Benz has committed to spending $1 billion between now and 2030 for North America. They've been partnering with Buc-ee's, Simon Malls, and recently Starbucks. Starbucks is said to have 100 locations coming online. Lastly, and the giant in the room, is the Tesla Supercharger team. They have about 60,000 stalls worldwide. If you want to boil that down, it's $500 million this year that they're spending in Asia Pacific, North America, and EU. And they don't really break that apart in their financials. The supercharger network is a part of other services lumped in there with the insurance products that they offer. So it's not really identified well how much they're spending, but we do have verbal acknowledgement from Elon Musk that this year they're spending $500 million. In the United States and Canada, they have 2,500 stations with about 28,000 stalls. That took them since 2012 in order to get to those numbers. So if you average about $45,000 per stall, that's about $1.2 billion. So very efficient rollout. And they've been going since 2012, so about 12 years. There's no payment terminals though. There's no canopies, and they're really built for quantity instead of quality. The reliability has been a high focus, so they skinny down the number of interfaces that they have on the chargers, and they just put in a big block of chargers, trying to make it very reliable and move on to the next place. So it's not very driver focused for the experience. Now let's go to Ionna. Ionna is a partnership between Toyota, Stellantis, BMW, Hyundai, Kia, General Motors, and Honda. They're said to be spending over $10 billion over the next 5 years. From 2025 to 2030, that will be $2 billion per year. You want to count $1 billion, or if you want to count $2 billion and you count $1 bill a second, it'll take you about 66 years to finish counting $2 billion. So just a colossal amount of cash getting funneled into this consortium. And according to the GM slide deck, what this partnership is known as is a consortium. Those are the words used. So just a colossal amount of cash. They're also said to put in 30,000 charging stalls during those 5 years with that $10 billion. If they do so, they will have eclipsed the Tesla supercharger network in number of stalls. They will have eclipsed by far Mercedes-Benz and Electrify America and be the largest CPO in all of North America. Job postings at this location, there's said to be 200 jobs coming to these facilities. Some of the job postings that are currently on their website are full stack engineer, a user experience manager, obviously for the app that they're going to be creating, a technical support specialist. So when you have a problem with one of their stations, you'll have someone to call, application engineer, for likely the enterprise applications that they need to operate, the billing and the business-to-business communications that will have to take place, API integration, things like that. Civil designer or EV charging site design. So that will be a pretty important role and a very busy one if they are going to complete 30,000 stations in 5 years. They're going to need a lot of those people. Supply chain manager, a senior site acquisition manager for getting properties to put all these charging stations into, a human resource manager, and the average salary of these 200 jobs is reported to be about $128,000. So the Durham County is very thankful for Ionna showing up. Some prominent employees that have already been announced. Seth Cutler is going to be the CEO. He's the previous president and chief operating officer of EV Connect. He's going to be taking the reins here at Ionna. Aaron Wolf is a strategic vice president of strategic partnerships. Previously, he was with General Motors as the associate director of GM Energy charging network deployments. If they do 8 stalls per station, that's going to be right around 3,750 stations in 5 years, or 750 stations per year. That's really aggressive. They're going to have to be on game in order to accomplish those numbers, because I've been tracking the Pilot Flying J rollout, and they were hoping to do 200 this year, but right now they look to be on track to be installing 100 this year, and they're not taking the foot off the gas. They've got the pedal all the way down to the floor, and that seems to be the maximum throughput that they can do. So if this team here is going to be exceeding that to the tune of 7 times as much, they really got their work cut out for them. The first station is supposed to open this year with 2, quote, flagship locations. And here's some quotes by Seth. "We will not be at the back of the lot." So they're not going to be going into large anchor malls and going into the back of the lot. This is going to be a driver-focused, experienced charging environment. Another quote, "It's a lot less about early adopters now who are willing to tolerate certain conditions because they're enamored by the technology. We're beyond that now into the mass adoption phase, and so it needs to be a consumer-focused experience in order to be successful. Every Ionna location will have well-lit canopies, a minimum of 6 to 8 stalls with the ability to expand in response to future demand, and the stations will have designed into them the ability to expand. Circle K does that. They put in typically 2 Terra ABB 184s that have dual handles, but they'll build out pedestals for 4 of those. So they put in 2, and then they have expansion for an additional 2. The term rechargery has been found by Steve Burkett, who runs the Plug and Play EV YouTube channel. I'll put a link down below in the description. So apparently the term rechargery is going to be used by Ionna. Not quite sure into what facet, if that will be how they refer to their stations or not, but that has been something that has been called out. So there you have it. a colossal new entry into the space for EV charging in the United States, Ionna. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you very much for watching.